yeah, there's that theme music right there. Welcome into Foxborough Rush. What a rush it is. Travis Thomas, Jade McCarthy. Hello, Jade. How are things?
What's going on? It's a Wednesday. Always good to be here on the rush, getting ready to rush through some Pats talk. You know, good times, Trav. I love it.
I like what you did there. I'm going to keep it going. We're going to try to get you over the hump on a hump day. Hoyo! All right. All right, Jade.
I still contend. Wait. I'm going to digress just for a minute. I still contend like that is the best commercial ever. The hump day commercial with the camel. Period.
Completely
Hands
agree.
down. Love it to this day. Okay.
Yes.
Had to get that off my chest on this hump day. Yo, Mike. Guess what day it is? So good.
I'm partial to 1-800-CARS for Kids. I cannot stop singing it once I. That's my commercial.
Did you have to do that? Did you have to go there?
The rest of your day, Jade, it's going to be right there. I'm just telling you now. So we'll get the people ready for Patriots Giants tomorrow night. But I do want to talk to you here about all these trade rumors. We have got to start here because every time I look up, there's drama with Terry McLaurin in D.C. There's drama with Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati. You have to throw in the Cowboys there and everything they're dealing with Micah Parsons. So there are trade rumors galore.
Like
yes, they do. There's a ton of these trade rumors surrounding star players, Jade. This isn't just like throwaway dudes for your roster. This is legit star, potential franchise-changing guys on the market. I use air quotes there because we'll see. Let's start with Trey Hendrickson here, as Carlos Lopez tweeted about this. So I'm going to read this now. The Patriots feel as though the price tag on star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson is too much, quote, at the moment. This is per Josina Anderson. It has been widely reported that Cincinnati is seeking a younger player and a first-round pick. So that is not too much, I don't think, Jade. Now, the younger player, I mean, look, the Patriots have that in spades to potentially give away. We know the money is the reason why Trey and the Bengals can't figure it out, really more so on the Bengals than Trey. He's worth every penny. I mean, I don't know. For the sake of convo with you and I, Jade, if you told me Kyle Duggar, who's a younger player, he's under contract, like Duggar and a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson, I don't think that asking price is too much. I'm not saying it has to be Duggar, but that's a young guy on the defensive side of the ball, which I imagine the Bengals want to get back. It doesn't necessarily need to be a pass rusher. So if I don't have to give up, I'm just making this name up, a Keon White, and I can give up a Kyle Duggar who's a little bit younger and just not going great in Vrabel's defense and a first-round pick. Am I crazy, Jade? Well, don't answer that. The answer is yes. But am I tripping to think that's not too much of an asking price, right? I think that's a fair trade.
Well, I think there's a couple different conversations to look at within the basis of this one, right? So when it comes to Trey, I think from everything that I've, heard and read and been told, this is a guaranteed money sticking point between Cincinnati and Trey. So they haven't been able to get past that, to bridge that gap, the guaranteed money in the second year of the contract. So that remains to be seen where, in fact, that's going to go. Now, you also brought up Kyle Duggar there in terms of the Patriots, and we've talked about him in this very space on Foxborough Rush, right? I mean, this is a guy that I said last week, he is not this regime. So it's important to keep that in mind. He signed a big deal last year, 4 years, $58 million. He's 29 years old, obviously dealt with a lot of injury last season as well, and that did not do him any favors. The Boston Herald was reporting it last year. He was diagnosed with an ankle injury as a high ankle sprain, and then it turned into what he was told was a bone bruise, but he continually was having issues with it, didn't feel like it was a high ankle sprain, and it resulted in the fact that ultimately he had surgery on it at the end of the season. Now, that being said, I don't know how much the ankle is an issue now, but we do know is an issue is the fact that he started here in camp and he's just done this. And that gets us to the point today where we're now hearing that the Patriots are willing to move him. He's been out there with the twos. He finished the game against the Vikings. And reports today, I mean, I saw it in the Herald. I think Jordan Schultz is reporting it at this point as well also, that the Patriots are willing to move Kyle Duggar. So, look, I think that, and there it is right there. They're open to trading him, seeing the reduced role this summer. Look, New England probably is going to have to eat money. I just said this, right? Like he signed a $58 million deal a season ago, and now everyone's probably wondering what they're going to get in terms of player. But I'm going to bridge this gap for you, Kyle, Travis, because when you talk about Kyle, I do think that if you look at potential trading partners for the Patriots, Cincinnati would be on that list. I mean, did you watch Monday Night Football? Did you see that Cincinnati defense once again? So I don't know if it has anything to do with Trey on this end of it, but I do think that there could potentially be a fit for a Kyle Duggar in terms of talking trades with the Cincinnati Bengals. And look, every general manager will tell you this, and you know, whatever the case may be, they're all going to say it always takes two. Sometimes there's a player who has a say in a deal as well. So these are not easy things to work out. But those are two teams, in my estimation, that would be having a conversation, at least at this point in time.
I would completely agree with everything you said across the board. You know, especially maybe as it even pertains to the Bengals specifically, because at this point, if you're them, you need anybody who can play on the defensive end of the ball that you can afford because they have no money. And Trey Hendrickson, God bless him, he has shown, you know, I think a lot of good faith in the franchise by even showing up to camp and hanging out and being a good soldier. Yep. He's also gone on record as saying, I offered less. Like, I was willing to take less money here. They still told me no. So, you know, I mean, the Bengals at this point, to your point, you better take Kyle Duggar and some Cape Cod chips if we throw that in, because you have nothing defensively to speak of. I would also, too, and we'll hear from Elliot Wolf here in a second, but I'll be honest, Jade, I'm on the same wavelength, I think, as it pertains to Terry McLaurin in D.C. I mean, again, you know, you and I are from this school of thought that the Commanders will pay him whatever and all this is for naught, but they still haven't done it. And I'm willing to pick up the phone if I'm the Patriots and say, look, much like Trey Hendrickson here, we'll give you a first-round pick. Deal. Like, I get, both of these guys are turning 30. I get it. I don't give a damn. I'm still willing to get the deal done, and I'm willing to give up maybe a Duggar, but I would think the Commanders would probably want a receiver. So I would say I'll give you any receiver on this roster without the last name Diggs, you know. I'd be willing to do that too. I mean, I think at this stage, I know the season's starting in 5 minutes, right? But these are star players, Jade. Like, we're not even getting to the Micah. You and I had the Micah discussion last week. But right now, realistically speaking, Trey Hendrickson and we think Terry McLaurin are available here. I think the Patriots should pick up the phone for both, Jade, and see which one you can get done.
I don't think there's any question that Elliot Wolf is having conversations. He told us as much, you know, this week, right? Now, I think there's a very big difference between having those conversations and having those conversations result in a deal, because that's where the nuance is, and it's not always easy. And, you know, you're also not talking about like just making it work from the dollar sense this year. You're talking about the cap into next year and so on and so forth. You know, the sticking point in Washington, you know, has been age when it comes to Terry McLaurin, right? He's in that same draft class as DJ Metcalf. He wants DJ Metcalf money, but he is older. And we all have seen over the years that the productivity of a receiver often falls off a cliff at that age
Yep.
30 season. So,
Yep.
that's where it's coming from. But I mean, to me, like, Terry McLaurin has shown he can play with any quarterback who wants to throw the football.
That's right.
He has continually been a team player, a leader, a captain. There's no question that he does so much for Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
We've heard Cliff Kingsbury being like, "Hey, look, like, we got to get him out here," right? I mean,
Yep.
he has basically said as much about his receiver. If you're the Patriots, yeah, of course you're calling about a Terry McLaurin, because he's one of those guys that can really benefit the locker room, can benefit a young quarterback in Drake Maye. There's a lot of wins there. It's a matter of, is it a win in terms of what you ultimately have to give up? And are the Commanders willing to accept that? That is the unknown entity.
That's a magic question. And as Jade mentioned, Elliot Wolf did tell us this week, hey, there's a chance we could get involved with some of these guys. Take a listen.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking to all 31 other teams and trying to do what's best for us. And if something presents itself, I think those things are often a lot more complicated than the fans and some others like to make it believe. But if there's something that we think can help us, we'll definitely be open to it.
Would you be willing to give up in a trade a second or maybe even a first-round pick to make your team better this year?
Sure. Yep. Just doing what's best for the team. If there's a player out there that we feel like can help us, then and it costs that, then we would consider doing that.
Wipe and.
We'll table that for now and come back to that. We do know this team's playing the Giants tomorrow night. That's happening. What we don't know, who's in, who's out. We'll see in this one, Jade. Mike Reese tweeted about this, about the players, the starters playing tomorrow or not against the Giants. So let's get into it here. And I do want to hear some sound, too, on Mike Vrabel on starters playing against the Giants or not. I mean, look, first gut feel here, I would like to see more of Drake Maye, to be honest with you, Jade. He left a lot to be desired so far in this preseason, but I also get it. Here's a tweet from Mike Reese here. The way practice ended with starting players running sprints and backups going through situational work could be a tip-off to how Mike Vrabel will approach the preseason finale tomorrow night. Probably unusual to be pushing starters like that if they were going to play. So this is just Mike Reese's opinion and his analysis. Mike Vrabel did, Jade, talk about starters playing, to play or not to play, and who we could see. Let's get into that, and then you and I will react on it on the other side.
Yeah, I think with a quick turnaround, I think we'll have to just manage some of those reps. But yes, obviously try to have a plan. Quick turnaround. These are going to be two important days here. We got to get back out here. We'll be in a red zone today. And then there'll be a group of guys that get a lot of reps tomorrow that are going to be good, important reps. So based on how that goes, that'll tell me a lot for Thursday night.
How much evaluation is left? There's most of the hay in the barn,
No, I mean, I don't think that's ever. I mean, we're always trying to evaluate and improve. Can't see a scenario where we'd ever not want to do that and continue to try to improve the roster or continue to evaluate who we think is going to give us the best chance to win, and also who has shown enough to want to work with on the practice squad, or who could, again, we've talked about the different types of players that maybe you'll end up on the practice squad throughout the league, whether that's a young developmental player or maybe somebody that can be called up for the game quickly on short notice.
How do you being able to watch the film? How do you feel like Will performed in Saturday's game?
He did fine.
Like, how do you reconcile practice performance versus preseason performance? And speaking specifically to Baker and Jennings, seems like Baker shows up quite a bit in the 11-on-11s here, but then in the games you had a hard time getting them involved. Obviously, Jennings goes kind of ran into the second half of Minnesota and some of the reserves.
Well, we don't ever underestimate the performance in a game, in live action. And, yeah, I don't think Javon would have liked to have been able to connect on some of those passes and those targets. He stuck with it. I liked where his attitude was and his ability to play on special teams. And then even late in the game to try to block, we threw a screen out there to Giles, and he's attached and he's trying to finish, and then found a reception there late. So I think that shows some growth. I think that could be for a young player when it doesn't go your way early. I think maybe it could have been an opportunity to kind of just pack it up, and I didn't see that from him. And again, my indication to that is the fact that late in the game we threw a screen to Giles, as I mentioned, and he's blocking, he's finishing, he's trying to make sure that he's protecting the guy with the ball. So sometimes it doesn't always go the way that you anticipate, or maybe the stats don't indicate that. And then for Anthony, just taking advantage of the opportunity that he got and helped us win.
All right, Jade. Now look, Coach Vrabel's going to always give you coach speak, but he keeps it real too. Just kind of reading the tea leaves there. It doesn't sound like any of the star players are seeing any moments of this game at all. Did you pick up on that too from Vrabel? I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was laying it out there as much as he was going to. And I also think, like Mike Reese said and, others have indicated that the way that they went, ones versus ones, toe-to-toe at practice on Tuesday, that seems to indicate that was going to be the bulk of their work as opposed to coming up in this game against the Giants. Look, I mean, and he said, you're always trying to evaluate and you're always trying to find ways to improve. They're going to do that with the guys who they do put on the field against the Giants on Thursday, because it also comes down to who are you keeping on the 53, with the cuts coming next Tuesday, a week from yesterday. So they're still trying to iron that out. And that obviously includes evaluation as process of it. Who is going to make that final cut down? And who do we want to make sure that we don't give somebody else a chance to have? And look, the reality is that they're not going to be high on. The Patriots are not high. I'm inverting how I'm trying to say this. The way they finished the season, there's a lot of teams that are going to have to wait in terms of clearing, rosters. The Patriots are going to be the first one among the first teams to have that opportunity to do that after the 53-man rosters are set. But still, you want to make sure that the guys you want to have on your team are on your final roster.
Amen. Hey, one of the players who we both know is going to be here because he was a first-round pick, but also because he has performed well in camp and he looked really good in the preseason, was Will Campbell. Will Campbell talked about, hey, there's still room for improvement, of course, but I like where I'm at as a rookie. Take a listen.
Yeah, I feel this is probably the best I felt in a long time.
You had a tough matchup last weekend. Regards to a really good edge rusher. How much did that help you?
Yeah, I think, anytime in practice, when you get to go against a guy from a different team that is a double-digit sack guy in the NFL as a rookie, does nothing but good things for you.
What do you take from that? What kind of lessons? What do you think after you watch it, after you go through it? How can that help you?
I'm just trying to do my job, do what we teach. Yeah, that's really it.
Well, where would you your skill set as a football player now compared to when you reported July 25th?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like, I've tried to come in each and every day and just, pick one thing that I saw that I didn't do good the practice before and try to come out and fix it and just, make a step forward every day. Try not to, go backwards in any, way, shape, or form. Just keep pushing forward.
Elliot Wolf told us he sees you improving every day. Where do you see your most improvement personally?
I mean, like I said a long time ago, I'm a rookie. So, there's a lot of stuff that, I'm trying to, work on to become better, to, become the type of player that I want to become. So it's not really it's everything, it's a big curve from college football to the NFL. So there's so many things that, you try to come out here and just like I said, get better with every single day.
Okay, now, Jade, I don't know what the future holds. Well said, right? I don't know the future for Will Campbell at that position. I have my doubts. But present day, rookie season, small sample size from what we've seen thus far, big man is balling, Jade. I'm cool with Will Campbell from what I've seen so far. I'm good with it.
Yeah, look, I mean, there was no going down on the Patriots offensive line. Like
Right.
you were only going to move up and improve. And Will Campbell is a welcome addition. He's had his moments, yes, but he's a rookie. He's going to have his moments. There are going to be growing pains associated with this. It's a young line. It's a young team. But you have to love the humility with which he's, begun his professional career in the National Football League. You have to love his, look, I pick one thing that I didn't do well and I go in and I try to do that better, as I walk into practice the next day. And we've heard him say before, I'm just trying not to make the same mistake a second time. I'm trying to learn when I make it the first time. And we've heard other guys say, he's in here and he's like, well, what do I do here? And how do I do this better? And how do I improve on this? It's like anybody who has that type of attitude is going to walk in and be much better than someone that walks in and is like, oh man, like I got this. I'm good. That's not right. What he's sitting there saying. So if you take his humility, his willingness to learn and grow and strive to be the player he wants to be in this league, and you take where this Patriots offensive line was a season ago, Travis, I'll take it. I mean, you're improving from where you were a season ago, and it's going to be a process. It's going to require time. But I'll still take it for where we were last year.
Well said. Now, before we go to break, I want you to see this. I thought this was a cute, adorbs moment between two running backs who I think will be sitting on the bench behind the rookie, Travion Henderson. Check this out, Jade.
I give my mom first coming into the league, especially the receiver, the running back. I kind of like the split backfield, man. That 20, 30 carry, stuff like that, man, that's wear and tear on the body, man. If you could do it, you could do it as long as you take care of your body. But me personally, I have nothing against it, the split, man. It helps the body. It saves the season. And, once you push for that long run to the, the Super Bowl, which is the Super Bowl, man, everybody's fresh. Everybody can still go. And there's not too much wear and tear on the body.
I'll say I agree. Coach's decision, whatever they, call upon us to do, take 15 runs a game to 5 runs a game, more passes, anything they want us to do, I think, we're all willing to do it. And that's what I love about it.
Oh, this is great news, Jade. Ramondre Stevenson there and Antonio Gibson talking about running the ball by committee. And I'm so glad they had the right attitude, because Travion Henderson is the man on this team, Jade. So they have a great attitude for it. I love to hear it.
Yeah, I think they're going to find different ways to get the ball in Travion's hands. I think that Josh McDaniels is going to be creative with that one, and they know that there's some different things that they can do because of the speed that he has. I'm sure that is super enticing for, McDaniels as he is sitting there, starting to scheme up for the opener against Las Vegas here in the coming days. But look, anytime that you can sit there and have guys say, whatever it takes, like if it's 15 carries for each of us, I'm good with that. And maybe it saves the legs a little bit. Anytime that you can have guys backing each other up, it's only going to benefit your running back room.
Amen. Now, before the Patriots play the G-men tomorrow night, Jade and I are going to look back to when they beat the hell out of the Vikings. We'll do that next, right here on Foxborough Rush. Roll with us. Welcome back into Foxborough Rush. Are you ready for some football? We are, but we have to wait till tomorrow night. But Jade and I decided we haven't seen each other since the Patriots beat the Vikings last week. Jade, if you remember, I told you, I said I covered Sam Howell in D.C. I said he throws a beautiful ball, but he throws to both teams. I don't know if you remember that line or not, and sure enough.
I do.
When I saw him throw a pick, I thought of you, because I said, I told her this man will turn that ball over. So Patriots win that game 20-12 last week, preseason game number 2. Drake Maye, I'm going to give you his numbers. before I ask what you saw in this game from him. 4 of 7, 46 yards. He did have the touchdown drive there, but he left some throws on the board. I don't know. I haven't seen the Drake Maye I wanted to see in preseason. I would love one more start, but I also get this is a finale. Like, who cares? We have tape on Drake Maye. Let's just get to the season. You don't want to get him hurt. I get that. But I didn't love what I saw from Drake Maye in this preseason, Jade, specifically as it comes to that Viking game. What did you see?
What didn't you love?
I haven't seen enough. I think it's not so much what he's not doing. We know the turnover against Commanders was bad. I get it. But I think I want more. I think I want more of a sample size from him. Maybe one more game, to be honest. Like, I know the preseason has changed in terms of the duration, but I would love one more Drake Maye start. It's not necessarily anything he hasn't done. I just need to see more of it. Does that make sense? I think he needs the reps.
Yeah, I think part of it is I haven't been to any of the joint practices, but I feel like what I read from the joint practices don't quite match what I have seen watching the preseason games, if that makes sense.
Totally fair.
And so
I was there at one, and it's not what I saw. I can confirm that, Jade.
Yeah. So I'm sort of like, okay, how do we make sure that we get what is being seen at those joint practices onto the game field, right? And part of that is, time, repetition, all of those things, right? I mean, practice makes progress. Practice is never going to make perfect. So I think that's part of it. I do think that, we have to remember, obviously, that this is a second coordinator for him and Josh McDaniels, and that's going to take a little bit of time as well for them to find their cadence with one another, and he has a young line in front of them, all these different elements to it. But I would certainly like to have those two things match, right? Like, you want the way you practice to be indicative of the way you're going to play. And I'll be curious how they try to navigate that with Drake, because again, I don't feel like there's a match at this point in time, based on what I'm hearing and seeing.
No, I can confirm. You're absolutely right. He looked better in the joint practices than in the game. And it's not concerning per se, but it goes back to what I said. I need more game reps. That's why I would love to see just one more start in the preseason, although I understand why you're not. But it's some of the footwork, the fundamentals. I mean, the guy has a rocket launcher arm, Jade. I need a little more touch from Drake Maye. I think you mentioned the system. Josh McDaniels learning a second system here in just as many seasons, 2 seasons for Drake. So I get it, but I think reps will help. But we're watching in real time, and we're going to continue to watch the development of a young quarterback. He's still in his embryonic stage in terms of development in this league. Drake Maye talked about the importance of getting reps with game action. That's the key. Take a listen.
Yeah, it's always good to get out there with the guys, go through a real game like in the huddle, out of the huddle. Got delay of the game, so that stuff's good to be mad at myself for, and reminder to watch the clock get out of the huddle, get the guys back in the huddle. So it's always good to get real game reps where they can hit me and kind of real situations.
Why the delay game? Something happened there that?
Yeah, I just got to get out of the huddle faster. I think it's with me. I think it starts with me getting those guys back in the huddle. It's different in practice. Just kind of getting back to the huddle when they're they start the play clock. Right after the last play's down. So. Just a good reminder. I feel like I was watching it. For some reason, it was a second down, a weird play that my eyes weren't on it, I think. But, I think it falls on me. It's good to have to bounce back from that because there may be a false start or, holding, get back on track kind of type of deal. So it was good to, feel that. But obviously, disappointed myself for letting that happen out here.
What do you see in your teammate after Chisholm? When you see him breaking tackles, 1 play book, 4 tackles?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you see in this game?
Yeah, he just keeps on showing up. I think that's the theme for him. Was throughout camp, throughout joint practices, throughout preseason games. He got in the end zone again tonight, and just keeps on showing up. Like I said, he's blocking the run game. He's knows what to do. He's staying late with veterans, and asking me, hey, what do you think on this route? He's just he wants it, and I think that's the biggest thing he's showing. It's paying off for him.
Well, certainly what he's able to do. Continue with the 11-yard run on that drive and then the touchdown.
Yeah, I think he's dynamic. I mean, shoot, it's cool knowing him. He's out there on kickoff for us, kickoff return. So I think from there, just try to find ways to get him open in space, and I think he's better than teams give him credit for running between the tackles, as you saw today. So just trying to find ways to give him the football, and I think on the third down, maybe could have gave it to him earlier or gave him a better ball.
You talked a lot about working with your line, joint practices. Other opportunity today where you kind of got flushed a little bit, Maye cut inside on you, and you went around and made the pass to Mac Hollins. How much of that is your game? How important is that?
Yeah, that's just game. That's just game situation. It's hard to emulate that in practice because the defensive ends always think they got a sack, So it's good to get out here and know they actually have to bring me down, and it's good for us to work scramble drill because sometimes that we call something and we're expecting this coverage and they go to something else. So it's good for those guys to feel that and the receivers to work on scramble drill and stuff like that. It's hard to mimic that, in practice. So it's great getting out here in a preseason game.
All right, Jade, look, you're going to have the final word on this. I mean, it sounds like you and I are in lockstep of let's just continue to be patient with this kid. But I was thinking about this, hearing him talk there. And it goes back to what you said about, he's learning a new system with Josh McDaniels now. All these young quarterbacks who have had success all have a quarterback whisperer, if you will. Jaden Daniels in D.C., we see Cliff Kingsbury with him, right? We'll see if Ben Johnson and Caleb can work in Chicago. Certainly it looked like it with their preseason game together, right? Sean Payton, we know.
Look good.
They look good. Sean Payton, we know, out in Denver with Bo Nix, right? So now it's just a question of Drake and Josh. I mean, is this combo going to work as good as a Nickelodeon show did? We need to see Drake and Josh be the same combo as these other guys that I'm talking about. We need Josh to be the quarterback whisperer as it comes to Drake Maye. I think he will. We just need to be patient with it, Jade, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, Minnesota's going to go through the same thing with, Kevin O'Connell and J.J. McCarthy. And we've seen Kevin O'Connell, KOC has had a ton of success with quarterbacks around this league. Yeah. So is Josh McDaniels. We've talked about it here, right? I mean, obviously we all know what he and Brady shared, but we saw Mac Jones have a lot of success, and we saw other guys come in and run the system, under Josh over the years, like when Brady was hurt, right? So there's other guys who have done well under him. I think the biggest thing that we all have to remember, and it's very challenging in this league, and it's certainly challenging after the past couple of years here in New England, but quarterback is a developmental position. That's just right. The way it works in this league. So you've got to expect that there's going to be some growing pains, and you've got to expect that you got to tamp down and try to be patient. And that's not always easy. I'm not sitting here saying it is easy. But I do think that at least the right foundation is being put in place, for the progressions to take off and the trajectory to grow, in a positive way, trending upward, right?
Yeah, you're so right. We also, what point you made that's so true is we do not wait for quarterbacks anymore. You should be developing this league, but if it's not working, if it's egregious, right? Drake Maye's not giving anything egregious to make you think, we got to give up on him. You have to let him develop. Josh Rosen is top of mind with Arizona. It was egregious. The Cardinals moved off in 5 seconds. Anthony Richardson now, we're seeing in Indy. It was egregious. They're we're going to go to Daniel Jones and give up on this kid.
But to me, Anthony Richardson is a guy that they drafted who had hardly any experience in college. He played for a year. you threw him in there and said, let's see what we got. And then,
Right.
there was some injury and this and the other thing. And now, obviously, his agent's like, I don't know what the future is going to look like here with Indianapolis and AR. But he didn't have everything to fall back on. It was like the exact opposite of Brock Purdy in San Francisco, right? Who played 5 years at a starter in college and had a sense, grew into it and was the last overall pick in the draft. And obviously, got a chance in San Francisco and never let go of it, and got paid as their starting quarterback of the future here. So you're talking about coming in from very, very different places. And I think that we have to remember that this is the second system that Drake Maye is dealing with. And we have to remember that patience is important in this league and give the kid a chance. We have seen that he can play. The glimpses are there. You just got to let him learn some.
Amen. Now, look, in order for Drake Maye to have success, there's going to be rookies on this team that are going to have to make an impact. And we saw it against the Vikings. I mean, Efton Chisholm went off. Jade, he led all players, 6 catches, 71 yards, a touchdown. I mean, this kid is unbelievable. It's going to be hard to keep him off the 53-man roster, no doubt about it. We're at a point where I don't think you can risk putting him on the practice squad without him getting poached. This tweet from Brett. I completely agree. What do you see when you watched Efton Chisholm? Because he is a playmaker, Jade.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're not watching him against the ones, and I think we all know that.
True.
It's important to point out. But that being said, he is a kid that he has shown that he's tough. He finds a way with the ball to get the ball, to move with the ball, got banged up in that one and, looks like it's not going to be a long-term issue for him. But we also all know that Josh McDaniels loves a good slot receiver. So I do think that there, is certainly a future for Efton Chisholm with the way he has started here in New England. He's going to have to grow. That's part of it. But look, Julian Edelman walked in on this team and he was a special teams player. It wasn't until he was here for a couple years where all of a sudden he emerged, and then obviously, went on to become a Super Bowl MVP for the Patriots. So again, what I think we've seen from Efton Chisholm is he has had a tremendous start. I think he has a place on this team. He's not going to be, your 1-2 in terms of your wide receiver, but do I think he belongs in the room at this point? Yeah, I think he has proven that he belongs there and he should get a shot.
Completely agree. By the way, Julian Edelman was a freaking college quarterback also. I mean, there's so many things. Exactly. Insane. Another rookie, Travion Henderson. This kid has another touchdown as the Patriots defeat the Vikings 20-12. He talked about his impact. I mean, this kid, I already told you, Jade, it's over. Ramondre, Antonio Gibson, cooked. You are running back by committee. This kid is the future and the present. He's the alpha and the omega. Here's Travion Henderson.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank God, just for the opportunity. And, I get a credit to the guys up front. They handle business and, they made my job easier. So I give the credit to the guys up front, the O-line, for taking care of the dirty work.
How do you feel going into the regular season looming, preseason kind of, coming to a close, where you are mentally, physically? How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I've been learning a lot throughout this training camp. So, the biggest thing, I just want to stay focused and continue to connect with my teammates and try to earn a role on this team. And so we'll see what God has in store.
What do you, when it comes to kick return, what's the most important thing? I always ask guys, what makes a good special team? From your perspective, what makes a good kick returner?
Kick returner? I think really, so this new kickoff return thing is kind of new for me. And so I think the biggest thing is just being decisive, knowing what to look at. And when you see something, you got to hit it because those spaces, they close up quick. And so, the biggest thing is just trying to be decisive back there.
What's the most important thing for you to focus on moving forward? Again, regular season looming, preseason coming to a close. What's the most important thing you want to get done?
I feel like everything, every aspect of my game, continue to try to stay consistent. That's the biggest thing. And so, yeah.
Hey, Jade, I'm not going to lie. Power rankings for my favorite current Patriots. It's Drake Maye 1, Christian Gonzalez 2. no wiggle room there. But Travion Henderson already has now broken into my top 3. I mean, this kid, not only do I love the player, every time he talks, Jade, I like him even more and more.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're like Alpha and Omega, it's Travion Henderson. I think he'd be like, no, that's not me. I mean, humble as they come, right? And he's just like, look, I got to get better at everything. I just want to go in. I want to keep working. I think he's right. Like in, kickoff return, you got to be decisive. Those holes close real fast. But this kid's a playmaker, and they're going to find ways to put the ball in his hands. They're going to do it in a way, I hope, that he's able to stay healthy. And I think that's important to remember as well. Just in terms of, you do have, a little tandem there in running backs that can chew up some good yards for you. And I think they'll do that. But I do think that good things happen when this kid touches the football. And we all know that when you have a playmaker like that, you do find ways to get the football and put it in his hands.
Okay, now Jade is my number 1 pick in favorite humans. In my draft, she's my number 1 pick. That's reality. But fantasy football, we'll talk to you about fantasy football next, right here on Foxborough Rush. We know your drafts are coming up. We're going to get you ready. Roll with us. Welcome back into Foxborough Rush. It is fantasy football season. Jade, my draft is quickly approaching. One of the things I have to think about is the tight end position. I have a running back. It's keeper league. So I have a running back in Jonathan Taylor. I have a wide receiver in Drake London. But I'm thinking, what am I going to do at tight end? Now, look, ESPN puts these rankings out. Of course, at the top is Brock Bowers. He has a chance to become an all-timer at that position. So we understand it. Trey McBride in Arizona with little Kyler Murray. I mean, he's another guy. I didn't have to do that, Jade. Why did I do that? He's another guy who's prolific. But then after that, you can start having combos here. George Kittle, getting a little long in the tooth, Jade. Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, 2 guys that are always, feels to me like they're banged up. Travis Kelce getting a little long in the tooth. He cares more about Taylor's albums. I just think there's a drop-off. I'm just taking shots on this entire segment. Outside of Brock Bowers
he said he's coming back. He's like, I didn't have the year I wanted last year. He's got, Taylor sitting beside him, obviously, on their New Heights podcast with him and his bro. But look, he's like, I didn't have the season I wanted last year, and I've really been hitting it and getting ready for this year. So we'll see. I feel like, he could have a great season. I'll give you a guy that I think who's not on this list that I think would be a great guy to draft. And that would be the guy who just found out who his starting quarterback is in Indianapolis, in Tyler Warren out of Penn State. I think he could put up some big numbers. I do. He lit it up. Like the entire Penn State offense ran through him. If you watched any of those games, they didn't have a wide receiver to catch the ball. Like it was all triple threat Tyler, as the song goes. And gosh, I think that was my wake up alarm because my kids said it as such for a while. And I would wake up hearing that song. But I will save you from singing it here on Foxborough Rush. But I do think that he could go out there and he could put up some numbers this season.
Hey, listen, you're lucky because in my house, it is just Kids Bop on repeat. So I'll gladly I'll gladly take what you got going on. I ain't gonna lie. I like Ty Warren as a sleeper. I guess if I'm picking nits here, I have to put a little trust in Daniel Jones. I don't love that. I'll give you a sleeper I like. And it's because not only of what I saw, but because I trust the quarterback more. And it's right here in town. Hunter Henry, who, by the way, he's 16 on this list we're talking about for tight end rankings. Do that if you will. But I like what I saw with Hunter Henry and Drake Maye specifically. In fact, once Drake Maye got into that starting lineup, Jade, Hunter Henry led the team in target yards and receptions. So I think I saw a good connection between those two. I think Hunter Henry may be a decent kind of sleeper to draft. And again, I have more trust in Drake Maye than I do Daniel Jones. Here's someone you should avoid like the plague, okay? And it's a no Shaq Sherlock moment. It's like, duh. But my Dumas took Kyle Pitts last season because I thought, okay, he's been hurt. He had one good season, so he showed you he could do it. Let me roll the dice. I think I took him late in the draft. I was like, let me roll the dice. My mistake was I didn't get another tight end. I just took him, and I thought it'll work out. And that was stupid because he was always hurt, and when he did play, he did jack schnikes. He gave me nothing. So whatever you do not draft Kyle Pitts. Go do something else with your time. Just take it from me. I should have known better.
Don't make the same mistake that Travis made.
I should have known better, Jade. I should have known. Do you like my Hunter Henry sleeper? I think I might go Hunter Henry here.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've said it so many times, but young quarterback, good offensive line, run game, tight end. Right?
Tight end.
Those are a young quarterback's best friends. So yeah, I mean, I would tend to think that he's certainly gonna get some balls thrown his way, and that would work to your advantage. If you can get him late in the draft and this offense gets rolling as things get going. I hear your hesitation on Daniel Jones, but again, I go back to the fact that it's a developmental league, and
it is.
I think Tyler Warren could help him out a lot out there in Indy.
Yeah, he could. It's nothing against Ty Warren. It's everything against Daniel Jones. Look, you know what did it? When Brian Dable, who you and I were talking about quarterback whisperers, he's one of them. By the way, I think he was hired to fix Daniel Jones, okay? He gets him to the playoffs. I think they won a playoff game, if I'm not mistaken. And then he's like, yeah, this isn't going to work. When he's out on you, that's when I pay attention. But look, we've reached a quota of talking about crappy quarterbacks here on the show because we only talk about good ones around here in Drake Maye. But when we do come back, we'll wrap up this fine television program talking to you in our mailbag here on Foxborough Rush. Roll with us. We'll be back. Welcome back into Foxborough Rush. All right, mailbag time, Jade. You know we love this. Let's start with F Hooligan 96. Wow, I do great with these names. This is on Efton. Every time, Jade. This is on Efton Chisholm. Quote, this dude is really starting to give me squirrel vibes. Julian Edelman reincarnated. You just talked about this. I mean, listen. I get it, like the size and all that, but he really does have that kind of game, Jade. I mean, he really does. Will he become Julian Edelman? Who the hell knows? Yeah. But he does have a very similar game, right? They do.
Yeah, I mean, as I cautioned, right? Like, he's not going up against ones. Like, let's rein it in a little bit here. But that being said, slot receiver, finds his way. We've seen some good little moves there from Chisholm in the, 2 preseason games in which he's played. So like you said, we have no idea what his game is going to become. I'll say this. If it gets anywhere near where Julian Edelman's game was, he's in pretty good company.
Amen. Matt D. Pete Borrell on Drake Maye says, quote, I have very high expectations for this team. Defense will be fine, I think. Question is, will Drake be able to run this offense and make quick, decisive decisions and get the ball out on time? Great question. None of us know the answer, but we know who can help get us to the answer and can help Drake Maye in this, and it's Josh McDaniels, right? Jade, like schematically, you can have plays that don't take long to develop. Yeah. You can have plays where you come and you say, hey, Drake, this is what you're looking for pre-snap. If you see it, go here. If you don't, get out of it, whatever. I think Josh McDaniels can help Drake process faster. Am I being fair?
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. I mean, I think part of it is, look, we're going to watch how long it takes to get the ball out of your hands. How quickly can we have that happen?
That's right.
And some of the play design obviously can help with that. And, you know, some of the different play action stuff that they can do and all of that can help along the way. But ultimately, it is about, you know, Drake getting out there and making good decisions. And if it's not there, sometimes being willing to take the sack as opposed to, you know, trying to create something when it isn't there. And some of that is it's just learning. It's just getting out there and doing it over and over again and being comfortable so that you're no longer thinking, you're just acting, right? Like it's already processed. The game slows down for him a little bit. I think that's a big part of what they're trying to help Drake Maye develop.
Amen. All right, producer Matt, we only have time for one more. I'm going to jump down to Paul Jones, 33. Who? Paul Jones on team's priorities. He says, geez, people are already jumping on the next 10 years. Why don't you focus on this season? If Campbell and Wilson are going to be starters, it's because they deserved it. Maybe New England's playbook will be high on the running game. I wanted to jump to this one because I completely agree. Not so much talking about the future, but yes, I mean, run the ball. When you have a young, inexperienced offensive line, the best thing you can do is run the ball down people's faces, Jade, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, a run game benefits a young quarterback. A run game benefits a young offensive line. The Patriots have both of those things. We know they've got a couple guys who are like, let's go. Use this as a tandem. We'll be willing to do it. So I think that we should expect that to be part of this offense, especially as we get going here in the early going of September.
That's right. For Travis Thomas and Jade McCarthy, we thank you for rolling with us here on Foxborough Rush. Till next time when we ask, roll with us again. Peace.